let's go.
First episode, here we go. Hello, I am Sheru Nazir, and this is the Container Chats podcast. I am with my co-host Adam Ponting.
Wholesome ting. Yeah, we also, I'll just say this, we also got Johnathan in the container, and Taran as well, doing the pull-up and all the stuff on the monitor here, so yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so welcome again, and today we have Rachel as our first guest. She is studying Economics and Sustainability Development at Edinburgh University. She also grew up in Kuala Lumpur, and yeah, was also my girlfriend. So there's that.
Aww.
So welcome, Rachel.
Thank you.
So let's start off with getting to know you. Actually, no. How about we start off, like, how did we meet you, Rachel? Yeah. So when it comes to me, I first met Rachel when I was on a walk. Just going on a walk around Edinburgh when I was listening to my audiobook, and then it was just one moment. I just contacted Adam, and he was with Rachel at the time. We hang out, had some chats. It was a short amount of time, but it was interesting. But yeah, let's go straight into the questions. So, you've been dating Adam for...
I like how this is the first... Getting to know your boyfriend.
We're gonna go straight into that.
Yeah, let's go.
So, you've been dating Adam for 5 months. What are some experiences or things that you've learned in your relationship?
First of all, I completely forgot we were dating 5 months.
Yeah,
That's
been 5
insane.
months, right? It's crazy.
Sorry, what was the question?
So, you guys have been dating for 5 months.
Yeah.
What are some experiences or things that you've learned throughout your relationship so far?
I've had the weirdest uni experience ever, because half of it has just been living with Adam. I've gotten the opportunity to live with my boyfriend in the first year of uni, which is insane. First time dating a white guy. English, got that
Some from Britain.
Yeah, from Britain, I've enjoyed, copying the accent. It's been great. I don't really have anything bad to say.
I can't imagine how massive the culture shock must be between the two of you guys too.
Insane.
So tell us what are some of the big differences between being from Malaysia and dating someone from Oxford.
Oh my god.
Especially
where do I start?
3 years.
Yeah.
No, Adam's great, but god. So number one, my spice tolerance has gone down so much. I'm gonna go back to Malaysia and people are gonna make fun of me because I just can't handle spice anymore. I introduced Malaysian food to his parents and they literally cried. They were like, it's really good, and then just crying. I felt so bad. What other culture
they don't really have spice at all.
His mom is really good cook. I'm not gonna deny that, but spice, I miss that shit.
So how did you guys meet initially?
How did we meet? I feel like Adam can answer this, but it's fine. We met on Bumble, dating app. I do not dating apps are good, but it's really, really rare to find people you really click with.
Yeah, because that's actually the next thing. What is your opinions on dating apps?
Oh, I mean, I've used them, so I can't. But I would not recommend them if you're you're not ready for disappointment, because there will be I've had a lot of bad experiences, or just not encouraging ones. People ghosting, I've ghosted, whole shit load of things. Yeah. But if you're ready for that, just go for it. Also, if you want something casual, just say it. Don't just people want different things, and you got to be on the same page. That's what I'll say about dating apps. Know what you want, and then tell people what you want.
Yeah. Okay. So you moved up to Edinburgh during amidst the pandemic. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was a 13-hour flight, so and I had this really weird face shield on, because my parents were you have to wear it, you're gonna get COVID if you don't wear it. The visor, yeah. And I was suffocating. I was oh my god. Even the flight, what's the word?
Turbulence?
No, the flight attendant, yeah. She came up to me, she was are you okay? And I was yeah, I'm fine. It was weird, the flight, and then just... It was scary because I had to wear the mask the entire time. It was a new country. I've never been to Scotland before. And the Scottish accent is kind of hard to understand. I was in the taxi coming here, and then the guy, I could understand the guy, and then he went on a phone call, and he was just and I was oh, what? And then he hung up, and he was you didn't understand a word I just said, and I was yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that must be quite confusing, especially with the taxis. Some of them have very thick accents.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if my accent is easy to understand.
Did you
but
come here alone, or did you come here with your family?
No, I wasn't supposed to come here. I mean, I was supposed to come here with them, and then they obviously couldn't. So I had to come here alone, and I moved in alone, and I really only knew my flatmates, so I was happy I had them.
Was there any difficulties doing your flight from Malaysia to Edinburgh, getting the flights and whatnot?
So I may have like some inside information about the Malaysian airlines. So I found out, even though like the airlines advertise that they're like, flights every day, there's really only one flight a week. And what they do is they cancel every other flight, and then they make everyone go on this big flight, which means there's more costs, more obviously profit. That's capitalism. So I managed to find the flight that like was going.
Wow, seriously, I never knew about that.
Yeah, it's quite fucked.
Why do you think they do that?
Because they're losing money. Like no one really wants to.
Oh, so it's due to the coronavirus. It's not. Like
No. It's just the coronavirus thing. Because like people obviously like flights are being restricted. So
since then, what is your opinions? Like, what did you think of Edinburgh back then versus what do you think of Edinburgh now?
Okay, I expected like bagpipes everywhere. I was not wrong about that. There are bagpipes everywhere.
I think
a few. No, September when I came here, I was just like, whoa, this is Scotland, like bagpipes. We got the kilts, we got the everything. I just had like a very like media, like I was like, everyone's gonna be in kilt, everyone's gonna talk in accents, everyone's gonna eat haggis, like, but there's just a really like Edinburgh is super 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 diverse. Like most of my friends are not from here, they're international. And that's been really great. Like I've met so many people from like the most insane backgrounds, and even just people from the UK, like really interesting. Best part about Edinburgh.
I think it's fair to say that like that's been our experience as well.
Yeah. I completely agree because first year in university is a very unique crowd because it's such an international crowd.
Exactly.
It can be quite like unique and very like large for a lot of people for the first time.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to your local cultures, the people of that local culture, traditions, and then you have access to all people of all places. So tell us, what, like, in your first few days in your uni accommodation, did they give you a program for, like, socializing, or did you have to do, like, socializing yourself?
So I was very lucky. I missed welcome week. So I missed
You're
all...
lucky.
Yeah, I was lucky. I missed welcome week, so I missed all this... Sarcasm. I was unlucky, to clarify. And I missed welcome week, so I came smack in the middle when everyone knew each other. All my flatmates had met each other. Everyone in my block knew each other, and I was like, hello, I'm from Malaysia. And the uni was kind of shit with socializing because obviously I think before they were planning like in-person events, and then suddenly like full lockdown, everything had to be cancelled. So I don't really blame them, but it was like kind of hard. Like I had to meet people in like the weirdest ways. Like on the WhatsApp groups, I would have to like I met the one Malaysian friend I have by like I saw their like country code on the WhatsApp group, and I was like, hi, I'm from Malaysia. And thankfully they replied, didn't think I was a creep, so that was good.
You know, you're literally like flowing like with our notes because like the next thing I wanted to ask, was like obviously I know about this, but how did the chat with like Alicia and
I was expecting
friends,
this
like,
question,
like come about, and what like other chats as well, because I know about that one but not the others.
Yeah, so one thing COVID has taught me is that you have to socialize in like the weirdest ways. So I would just join like these, like on the Edinburgh Freshers group, we would have like people just being like, here's a group, join it. So I joined basically most groups I could join. And anyway, what was the group? I think with the one with like my best friends now, Sasha and Alicia. That was the Shy Guys group, I think.
Shy Guys?
Yeah, it was for introverts. So, I had to join that shit. I just joined every group. I didn't really think about it. And Malaysia's time difference is really annoying. So it's 7 hours ahead from here, and everyone else is sort of like on the same page. So there were people like international students on that call, but so they had a group call in that group. And then, so I saw a message. I was up at like 10. I saw a message at 5 that was like, hey guys, join the call. I was like, fuck, I missed it. So I sent the message in the group, and I was like, oh, hey guys, like, sorry I missed the call, but like, I would love to join next time. And then Sasha replied, he was like, oh, we're actually still on the call. And I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna join even though I have a doctor's appointment in like 40 minutes. So I joined the call. There was like 3 people there. Everyone had left by that point. And we were like, hi, like, and then he was like, yeah, you're great, like, join the next call. And then we made a separate group from there. And then that group was sort of like the main people I socialized with before I came here. And then when we came here, it was that group, and then it sort of became smaller. And then this time is really when I like figured out who my like proper groups were and stuff. So like Alicia and Sasha and all that. Yeah.
It's very interesting. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard.
Can I ask something as well? Actually.
Yes,
Yeah,
Karen.
of course.
Ask anything
Chime
you
in,
want.
Yeah, I was thinking like coming to a new country and like doing uni, like such a new experience. Like, were you scared at any point?
Oh, I was terrified. I was so scared. Like, I have like cried and stuff here because I was like, oh my god, I can't cope.
So
like,
far from home, so like.
yeah,
Alone.
I was
Yeah.
like not homesick the first week, sort of just because I was like, oh my god, Edinburgh is great and stuff. But then it
Yeah.
really set in. I was like, I'm alone. This is a new country. I have to go to the bank. Going to the bank is terrifying.
Yeah,
It's
and-
terrifying.
and,
Like, I
you know,
know.
when you're down or something, you can't. Mommy and daddy can't
Yeah.
just collect you.
Okay, to be fair, I wasn't always like, Mommy, Daddy, I'm sad.
No,
Like,
it's not even that. It's like for example, with us who go to Scottish unis and English unis,
Mhm.
we're quite close. If we ever need to go home, if we ever need
that's
to go
true.
home,
Yeah.
we can go home within a few hours. With someone
Yeah.
like you, if you ever have a bad experience with your flatmates or
Uh-huh.
whatnot,
Yeah.
you're in a situation where you just have to deal with it.
That was
sadly.
so one thing like that I could think of is when I thought I had COVID. So this was the day before my birthday, and I was just like sick. I was in bed, and I was like, I wish I had my mom to take me to the doctor, and I did not. I called her. I was like crying. I was like, I can't do this. She was like, no, you can. And then I had to like walk myself. I couldn't go to my flatmates because I had to isolate myself. And that was probably the most isolating experience I've ever had, like in Edinburgh for sure. And that's probably one of the hardest parts, but you know, I think overcoming that, I realized like how great it is to feel independent and be like, I did that, so I can probably do it again if I needed to.
It does make you a lot more stronger and independent. So I completely agree.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's quite
Yeah, look how far you come, eh?
yeah.
End
Now
of first
I
year.
just live in Adam's house.
Yeah.
Like I
got-
really
you got
come.
a tour guide.
Yeah. I was independent, and then I was like, I need to be dependent. So let me just go back to Adam. Yeah, Adam's been great, and
Oh,
Adam's family
thank
has
you.
been so great. So it's so nice to not.
Aw.
It's so nice to go down and have food made for me. You don't
Yeah.
understand how nice
Yeah.
that is.
Well,
It's like
yeah.
family, you know.
Yeah, it is. It is family. Like I feel really, really close to like Adam and Adam's
Aw.
family. So and you guys have been nothing but great and accommodating. Shout out Jules and Chris
They're great. Yeah.
and
yeah,
Adam
yeah.
and Ella.
Well, moving on, I wanted to ask a few questions about your your subject. So economics.
Oh
and
yeah, you got
sustainable
you got like my degree wrong. So
Wait, what?
not
Okay,
really,
first
not
of
really.
all,
You like what I'm studying is right, but it's
Yeah.
essentially like the title for like I don't know fact checking purposes. It's economics with environmental studies, and then from there what I did was they offer you 3 paths within that. So the path I chose was sustainable development. You could
Right.
choose something more like scientific, like ecology or something like that.
Yeah.
But I chose like the more economic, political side of it, which is sustainable development.
Ah, I see. That's
So,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I did have a brief look, and that's what I found. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Sick.
yeah. One of the kind of sub questions within that was, how is your perspective of the world changed? Now that we're not really pulling our weight environmentally, and all the kind of disasters that you realize when you're learning, sustainable development and economics.
So yeah, studying my degree is sort of like it's really conflicting because it's like the
Yeah.
most discouraging and also simultaneously uplifting thing ever. Because on one hand you're like, yeah, countries aren't meeting their targets, people aren't like doing what they need to do, and then on the other hand you see like these incredible activist groups, like even though they're such small people, like whether it's indigenous or black or low income or whatever, they have to fight, and like it's really inspiring to see these groups of people, and it's like if they can do it, why can't all of us do it? So that's something really cool that
So
I
very
like.
humanitarian focused idea.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not obviously like there's politicians, there's people with vested interest, and you need to think about. There's so many layers to this shit. Like my mind will explode if I think about everything. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And what made you like choose it in the first place then? Just besides
So firstly, I was actually looking at an economics degree because money.
right.
And then and also just because like okay, I did accounting in high school, and then my marks went from like A to a B to a C to a D, and I was like, maybe I'm not really good at this, so I dropped it, and I was like, no way I'm doing anything in finance. And then I watched a random YouTube video about economics, and I was like, oh, cool. And then I like watched more about it, and I was like, cool, I kind of want to do it, but like my base my life on this.
Yeah.
And then like okay, this is gonna sound really fucking weird, but do you guys know the song like Earth Song by Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
Earth song.
It's
You know
about the earth.
And
it's a song.
Can you research this with
Oh
this
my
Earth song?
God.
Yeah,
of
put up the
course.
lyrics or something.
Do you want
Yeah.
to? Should we get the actual video?
Yeah, pull up a video.
Alright.
Yeah.
Oh god. It's from the 90s, so like Copy. Oh yeah.
I thought you were talking about this song Earth by
It
Lil
should be
Dicky,
fine.
and I was really disappointed for a
God.
second.
Oh no.
Little Dicky,
Probably
Young
not.
Gunner, you know.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah,
So,
so
Imagine,
inspiring.
Like 21 Savage made an Earth song, and it was like talking about the Earth. It was like someone going, yeah, keep running in the
Yeah.
background.
Oh my
with the ad-libs and all
God.
that.
it's very accurate.
For sure.
That'd be 21st century Earth music. No, 2021 Earth music.
Yeah, most likely.
It'd be like Young Gunner, fucking Miley Cyrus, Grimes,
Hey.
Elon Musk
Hey.
doing the dubstep.
Okay, you don't have to watch the whole song. It's like 5
Also, you
minutes.
really want to get the audio up.
Or you could get like the lyrics or something, just or not. Okay, it's about the Earth.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't like see the video. I heard the song.
Yeah.
Oh, I know this song. I know this
I've
song.
never seen the video before.
This song is great. Full screen it. Double click.
I don't think I've ever seen this.
What about sunrise?
When we get to the chorus,
Damn. I know.
The chorus is him just saying ah and ooh. So
Oh, I remember this too well.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So I listened to that song and like I like generally like the environment. Obviously, controversial opinion, I know. And I was like, and I heard that and I was like, oh my god, like we're in such a dire situation. And then I was like, economics, like people always think of the environment as like solely environment, like trees, flowers and stuff, but it goes beyond that. It's not just your trees, it's your economy, it's the fossil fuels industry that's really destroying the environment, it's capitalism, it's all these things that are in the like the economy, and people are now only like realizing that, oh, these things are connected. And if I could get in there and like do something to help that would be like insane, that would be great.
So essentially, it's kind of like a new version of like economics, focusing more on like not just shareholders and capitalists, but also like the effect on the environment
Exactly.
and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Sorry, you go.
What would you like to do with that afterwards? Do you feel like?
I see, that's the thing. These jobs very easily get like de-radicalized. So if you become like a green consultant for a firm, what happens is the firm just sort of like, hey, just tell us to like switch to reusable toilet paper or something, and then you're fine. But it needs to go like deeper than that. It can't just be like, go use the paper straws. Like you need to like change how your business model is, where your raw materials
Because
are coming
there's
from.
band-aids, aren't they?
Yeah.
So what methods do they teach you in your course? You know, like
Methods.
yeah, or like, you know, like techniques, like ways that you know, they can be ethical environmentally, but also like, you know, have a running business. Like if these two collide,
like okay, I'm in first year, so
yeah, of course,
I'm not
it's a very
too
base.
yeah. What you're doing now is sort of just introducing us into like how we see the issue and where we can sort of, because we need to like obviously figure out what place we want to like take in this, so various perspectives, not really too into like the practical side of it. We're very theory based now. I wish I could answer that.
Also
I really do.
online
Yeah.
only too.
Yeah.
So
Sorry?
like, with online onlys, you can't really
Exactly, yeah.
So
I like
they're
miss
gonna
my
keep you with theory
tutorials.
only, but
Yeah.
hopefully next year, you know.
Oh my god, I'm so bad at online learning. I like went for 2 of my like online calls, and then I was like, I can't do this, and then I did pretty well in one of my
Yeah,
so.
that's a good question actually. Tell us more about like how you dealt with online learning and how that was like a big effect, because it's your first year, and first year of university is very much about time management. You have to learn time management. So doing that without the help of a professor and the uni environment, you kind of stuck to your own devices. So how was learning online?
So I've actually learned online before, because my A levels was the same year I started uni. It was right before I did uni. And I had to do that online, which means I had to do my exams online, which was also just really hard. But I sort of had like an exposure to it, you know. But first year, good thing about first year of my degree was I had some background in economics. So even though like I was happy, if I had been introduced to this like for the first time, I would have had such a hard time. But because I knew some of it, I was like, okay, I can sort of catch up. With sustainability, it's very theory. It was okay for me to understand. I think probably the biggest problem was like disciplining myself to like sit down, watch a lecture. Oh my god, that shit's so hard. Like it's so hard. And I like for econ I had to use a textbook. Using a textbook online is the worst thing ever. I hate it. Like it's just like 500 pages in a PDF staring at you, like, read me. And I'm like, no, I don't want to read you.
Yeah, plus it's not easy to read on a computer because it's not good for your eyes.
Exactly.
Makes you very tired.
Yeah, I like one of my friends is like, oh, COVID is just like a hoax by like eye doctors to get you to get glasses. And I was like, fuck, that's kind of true.
It's a new conspiracy theory. We never really thought about it, you know.
Yeah, I like this one.
Let's
you know.
talk about conspiracy. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's another podcast. But yeah, no, it's just hard. It's very easy to lose like motivation. So yeah.
Okay, so how about this? You often post on Instagram.
I'm a slave to social media.
You're quite not like influential, but you post a lot, and you're very interested and passionate in what you post about. Recently you've been posting a lot relating to humanitarian issues and other types of content. Can you explain more about why you like to post about this kind of content?
Oh, yeah. See, like I've been like, this isn't a recent thing. I don't think, like, I've been posting about things. I don't think like I'm an activist. Like, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm not a good person for sharing like an Instagram post. It takes 2 clicks. Like, that's all.
But that's still 2 clicks more than many people.
That is true.
Yeah. A voice is a voice.
I think because I have more than 1,000. This is not a flex. I have more than 1,000 followers, and like that gives me a platform. That means people that like I don't know could potentially see my content, and even though it could be like one person that like sees it. For example, I think I shared an issue that was happening in, this is a long time ago, I can't remember, maybe it was Thailand, I think. I can't remember exactly.
Was it the coup in Thailand? Not the coup, the protest in Thailand.
Maybe
against the monarch.
God, I cannot. Oh no, it wasn't Thailand. It was about the coup in Myanmar. And one of my Myanmarese friends from my college like texted me, and she was like, thank you so much for sharing this. And I was like, oh my god, my posts have like impact, because normally it just be like hundreds of people watching and then not saying anything, but this person messaged me and she was like, thank you for sharing this. And like recently there's been like cases of police brutality in Malaysia, and not a lot of people are talking about it, so I decided to share something on it. And then someone texted me and she was like, thank you for sharing this. Like, people have gone abroad from Malaysia and they don't talk about things like this. They have like, they talk about George Floyd, but they don't talk about things that happen in their own country. And like, you need to like sort of hold people up to their moral standards. Like, if they're talking about this, why aren't they talking about that? And I was like, I really agree with that. And I think like I can't just speak of one issue. Like I can't just talk about Palestine without like talking about what's going on elsewhere. Like, it's good to talk about things, but you can't just be like selective about what you choose.
I completely agree, because in the modern day I feel like when with the power of the internet and the power of the media, we kind of have this massive flashlight, but it's like this flashlight that can only focus on one thing, but when we focus on that one thing, everything around us gets darkened.
Exactly.
When we focus on George Floyd, we forget about all the issues happening in Britain or all around the planet. Or other racial issues, even in America, but because of that like flashlight or whatever, that light upon that thing, everything else is darkened. Same with Palestine. Palestine's a very, very important issue, but it's been going on for 70 years, and it's been on and off with importance, and some people just very interested in it one day, not interested in it one day.
Exactly.
What is like? Tell me a little bit about your opinion on Palestine, like the current situation, if you don't mind.
Well, first of all, Israel doesn't exist. It's not a real. Fuck Israel. I think something really worrying about Palestine is like, I maybe not be too updated on this. Is the ceasefire still in action?
The ceasefire is still in effect, but the ceasefire was broken within hours by Netanyahu.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's expected. One thing really like worrying is that some of the Palestinian people don't have access to like social media or like just power, electricity, internet, and that makes it even more imperative that we need to like pay attention to them. We can't just lose focus of this. Israel's a bitch.
Would you consider something like internet in the modern day to be like an essential utility?
Essential utility, like
human
for
right.
A human right.
No, like human right. Because like the internet, do you think it's a human right that every person has a right?
Okay,
to
for example, in Malaysia right now, they're distributing the vaccines. They're doing this not by like just age or whatever. They're doing this. They're giving you limited slots. You have to go on the internet. You have to register for their vaccine, and whether you get it or not is up to like chance. Someone else could take your spot. and people who don't have internet, they're automatically excluded from this.
So it's like a wealth disparity issue in that situation.
Like that is a life in that situation. You're actively excluding people who don't have access by that. So
I think in this day and age, it's just so essential. Like it connects to so much, and it just connects more and more and more.
Says the computer science.
Yeah, you know it, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me, have you ever had to deal with racism or prejudice, and like due to the way you look or speak, either in Britain or Malaysia?
Yeah.
Both. Okay, here not as much. I think just because Edinburgh is so diverse and stuff, they have that tolerance here. Personally, I haven't. I haven't really been to London. I went when I was like 12. Oh, actually, my family got refused from not refused, but like no one came to like serve us at a hotel. So that was kind of that
happened to me in London too. Actually,
that wasn't London. That was Germany.
Oh, you went to Germany. Where in Germany did you go?
Yeah, I can't fucking remember. I'm sorry. Like I went all over. Yeah, just all of it.
Just all of it.
Yeah.
Was it like a capital city or?
I don't remember. It was a small town. That one was a small town.
But yeah, back to the question. So, have you had to deal with racism and prejudice?
So racism in Malaysia, definitely. There's a lot of like assumptions towards Indians. For example, Indians are drunk. Indians beat their wives. Indians aren't smart. And like I don't know. For me personally, a big part of this was like my English abilities. So I had to go. I went for like Cambridge English classes, which is just for like exams and stuff. And I was the only Indian person. The rest of the people in the class were Chinese. My mom worked at that center. She taught that class. And I would get the best marks. Like, I'm not trying to flex, but I would get the best marks out of all these people.
Yeah.
And people would be like, oh, your mom's mocking. I'm like, this is a fucking objective paper. Like, this is ABCD. Like, what the fuck? What do you want me to say? And also just, like, writing, I was kind of good at that. And they'd be like, oh, it's your mom. And then, like, there was one time I was standing outside, like, waiting for class to end. And then I could hear two people. They were speaking in Chinese, but I could hear them use a slur. Towards like specifically Malaysian Tamil people, and then they like looked at me and I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, so it's really fucked. Yeah.
So you've dealt with it more in Malaysia than you have in Britain.
Definitely, and also just like systemic racism, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to go a bit into like the East versus West mentality. Considering you came from a predominantly Muslim country, what are some of your experiences growing up as a minority Christian?
There's been like I personally haven't been like super affected. I haven't been like
I guess you said you have more issues with the Tamil Indians versus the Malays.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
that's
I don't know if you also have an issue with the Muslim versus Christian.
There's definitely like I think like Islam versus, if I use that, all other religions. Like there's sort of like this superiority not complex. Just like. In the constitution, Islam is the national religion, and therefore it is more revered than any other religion. There's been like desecration of like holy sites for I think Hindu people. I'm not sure about any other religion. There was a huge thing. So the Bible uses the word God, but when you translate it to Malay, the word God in Malay is like Allah as well. And there was a huge controversy between like the Muslim people and the Christians because they were like, you can't use this word, and like it means God. So there's like a huge,
which is kind of ironic when you consider that Allah is an Arabic word for God.
Exactly.
So it coming to Malaysia and becoming the word for God is very interesting. So like, what was it like back in Malaysia hanging out as a teenager, and like did these kind of issues come up?
Wait, what, like with my friends and stuff?
Like just like in the general like social issues, like as a teenager, did you have to deal with issues relating to the Tamil Nadu and Malay issue, or the Indian versus Christian versus Muslim issue? So
there's like a lot of dimensions to this. Obviously, number one, people's voices are suppressed. Like Malaysia's not a democratic country. It says it is, but there is no freedom of speech. You say the wrong thing, you go to jail. So you say the wrong things against the wrong people, you go to jail. So people who voice out, I salute them, but I'm not one of those people because it's a really precarious position for me. And I hung out with the more liberal, like left-leaning communities, so I didn't personally have like super conservative people throw their opinions at me all the time. But there are like those people. They definitely exist. They're the majority of Malaysia, but I personally hung out with like more, tolerant, like well-meaning people, so that was fine for me. I didn't have to like, sort of like have these really heated debates with them. But yeah, like definitely these issues, like, they are my life, so I do want to find out about them. I do want to talk about them. So, like, among my circles, I would talk about them, but not really,
I see.
like...
Okay. Also, I know you went to a commercial, like, all-girl public school. Can you tell us more about that? Seems very interesting.
Yeah, I
This
was...
is the high performance word we were talking about the other day.
Oh my god.
High performance.
Adam kept like, he was like, what? High performing? You perform high? Like, no, not that. We don't, no weed.
Weed?
Because like high anyway, so, it's a really weird thing in Malaysia where they sort of like rank schools. So my school was a high performing school, which means that my school had a responsibility to produce high performing students, which means that exactly, so it had to be consistently, so you'd have to get like really good marks to get in from an entrance exam, essentially. Not entrance exam, just an exam. And yeah, what do you want to know about my schooling experience?
Well, I'm wondering,
how did they ensure high performance?
Oh, so they would like drill us. Like they would have these we even had study camps. What the fuck is that? Study camps where they would get like people to come and lecture us for like days and days and days. We would have like, you know, if people didn't get like if people got marks below the average, people like they'd get counselors to come and talk to them and be like, are you okay? You need to get marks. You need to get marks.
Just keeping it high.
Yeah.
Pressure.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Was
insane
there,
amount of pressure.
like segregation or trouble like in friend groups due to this high performance thing? Like there's educated kids, like the top
For
of the
sure.
class, and like the dumb kids that
It
are on their
was
own corner.
it was so fucked because they had this program where it was like, here are the students we think can do well. They put us all on a stage, and then the rest of the school is just sort of staring at you like you are the fucking pricks that they liked. Like it's such a, because I was on that. I was on that stage,
Oh, no,
and I just
you
felt
were
so
bullied.
bad. Like I was like, oh god, why are they doing this? Like people, we all knew it was a bullshit system. Like so, I wasn't gonna tell my friends like, look at me, I'm better than you. I have this badge that says I'm better than you, which is not obviously the case. One thing in Malaysia they do is they stream you into like science subjects and art subjects. So if you get good marks in an exam, you go into the science stream, which means you do the science subjects. If you go into the art stream, you do like economics, business and stuff, which are pretty good subjects. But the assumption is that people who do the sciences are smarter and people who do the arts are like dumber, to use like some people's words, which is completely untrue obviously, but there is that sort of like problem with that people thinking that STEM subjects good, art subjects are bad, which is really fucked. Yeah.
Also, do you know in your general education in this high school, was like already included like Christianity and different religions, or was it very much like Islamic centric?
So they would have anyone who is Muslim. By the way, atheism is not a thing in Malaysia. It's not. I mean, it is a thing, but it's not a thing.
It's not really.
You can't
talk about it.
Exactly. So that's not recognized in schools and stuff. So if you're Muslim, you go to Islamic education. If you're not Muslim, you go to this really weird alternative that's just called morals. Like it's moral studies.
So what do you do? You don't get Islamic education.
Not at all. No. But there is like, you can't say like your own, like the only prayers that are publicly said in the school are like Muslim prayers. Fair enough. But yeah, so moral studies was weird. What you learn is basically how to define morals, how to be a good person, don't be gay, don't have sex, stuff like that. So really important things, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Do they ever like try to put any justifications behind of it, or is it just like don't be gay?
Don't be gay because it's the wrong thing to do. That's their justification.
The wrong thing.
I feel like the best religious scholars are the ones who can justify anything.
Yeah.
Like even in the modern day, like they never talked about phones in the Quran, yet they can justify something via a book 700 years ago for something happening in the modern day. It's like it was the same with schools. They just find some sort of justification in some sort of like obscure text.
Yeah, but no, they don't even bother justifying.
Yeah,
like,
sometimes they like
stuff
just
like
do
that.
it and say that's
Yeah.
So are all the schools in Malaysia religious?
There are religious schools, there are non-religious schools. There's also
non-religious
really interesting schools called vernacular schools, which are essentially, so it caters to the Chinese population. So you'd have like schools that teach Mandarin, schools that are predominantly Chinese attendees, and you have like Tamil schools, so those are like mostly Tamil kids, and then you'd go like, so those are those schools as well. And then there's just general government schools, there are private schools, international schools. We've got a whole fuckload of schools.
In terms of your history class, I'm assuming if you had one in your high school, what were you taught about the history of your nation?
Oh, So we were the good guys. Everyone who colonized us was the bad guys. Fair enough.
Can you go more in deeper? Like what specifically did you learn about your country? And was it more like Malaysia focused, or was it more about the global community?
So I learned history, proper history. Let me rephrase that. I learned history that I was tested on formally for 2 years. 1 year, I had maybe 4 chapters about Malaysia, 6 chapters about Islam. So 6 of it was entirely about the history of Islam. 4 of it was about how our country got independence and stuff like that. The previous year was just like how the colonizers tricked us into like giving up our resources and stuff like that.
Was it more about modern history, meaning like early modern history, or was it like also like ancient history, like medieval or classical, or is it very much focused on like this is what happens during colonial times and then this is how we got independent, blah blah blah?
So there was like a discussion of like Paleolithic times, like really back.
But even like the early like empires and kingdoms of like Malacca and all that.
Oh, definitely.
So
yes.
they were all like you learned about those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was there as well. What else we learn about? The whole like we did learn about Malaysia, but so the problem was that it was too Malaysia focused and too Islam focused.
So
nothing wrong with that.
You didn't go too much into the global community. It was
Not
very much
really.
focused on.
So we
the
had
two
a
things,
page.
Islam,
We had
Malaysia.
a page on the World Wars. World War and World War II fit on one page, and
Honestly,
that was it.
I didn't get lucky.
What? No, World War II was in one page. No mention of the genocide. None of it, because Malaysia is really anti-Semitic. So that's a huge issue there. When you glorify one thing, you just completely like disregard every other thing. So that's a problem.
I can tell you in comparison to a school like from where I'm from in Edinburgh, you would learn about something like World War II for an entire year,
exactly.
maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's like the opposite. It's like it's so in depth, so detailed.
Yeah.
We can know any fact about it.
Exactly.
But yeah. So during your travels to the United Kingdom, during your travels to the United Kingdom, what are some things that shocked or surprised you about British culture?
Bit of a
I
different.
feel like this should be you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Surprised me about British culture. To be fair, a lot of the stereotypes that I thought existed did exist. Like, I see the same sorts of people that get made fun of on social media. Like, I see them in front of me. I'm like, alright, you're the stereotype, cool.
What's the stereotype to you of a British person?
Okay.
Scottish.
Actually, not really. Yeah, so the whole
did you
thing.
see it in terms of Scottish stereotypes or in terms of the more like British? Because
yes, more British.
Because I know my
definitely.
family from Pakistan, they don't see me as Scottish, they just see me as English because they don't understand the concept of Scotland yet.
Yeah. They like live here, like we don't really understand this
We're like,
conceptually.
oh, are you from England? Oh,
Yeah.
We got sweets from England.
Oh my god.
Maybe when we get independence, you know.
I hope maybe then we'll be recognized as a country.
Yeah,
Maybe.
independence.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But yeah, so any major like what would you consider
Lol,
the
one
stereotype?
weird culture shock. Sorry, I just remembered this. Is like all my life, everyone was like, "Say thank you." It's what the British people do. I come here, no one says thank you. They all say cheers. I'm like, what?
To be fair,
Like-
that's yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, you're right. It's
I know.
I'd say it's still I'd say it's about 50-50, to be honest.
That whole thing about like British manners is such bullshit. I say that in my country. I come here, no one says that shit.
Because
Like,
here's the thing, like with me, when you go to bus and everything, yeah, it's very common in British culture to be thank you or cheers. They essentially mean the same thing. It's like a dialect issue, but I mean, you are right though. Like in like British politeness is so common.
it is.
Yeah. So, what were some of your favorite facets of British culture?
God, Adam's probably my
Thank you.
favorite.
What,
Right,
is
right.
it because you're so stereotypical English?
I actually like fish and chips. I really like fish and chips. I don't understand why that is not the national dish. Why is chicken tikka masala the national dish?
Because us Indians know how to conquer, right? It's like
That's
reverse
true, that's
colonialism.
true. Oh, I love. That's essentially what I'm doing to Adam.
I mean,
but
I haven't had. Honestly, I think fish and chips is like dying out. Seriously,
I'm
because
so
I
sad.
haven't had it since I've been in Oxford.
No, but you know what it
So-
is though. It's like it's much more of a nationalistic thing. Like with
Yeah.
us, with the younger generation. So I feel like it's also due to the fact that we don't see ourselves as Scottish or English only. We see ourselves as a global community.
Yeah.
So we can eat food from India and be okay with that. We can eat from China or anywhere without issues. Where someone who's a bit more old-fashioned traditionalists. They'd be
Yeah.
like, I think I would only want to eat British food.
That's
we
true.
don't have those barriers,
Mhm.
so we have the option.
Mhm.
So
Right.
it's not dying out, but it's kind of like, yeah, British food is not why people come to Britain.
Yeah. So,
Yes, definitely.
So, do you see yourself living in a Western or Eastern country as you grow older?
As I grew older, jeez, I still have yet to get. I'm sort of getting used to like this Scottish way of life, but you know, I've been in Malaysia for like 19 years of my life, and that's a really like long time. I think I would have
guess
to
you're
live
still
here a
very
bit
new
longer.
to Western
Yeah,
culture
I would
too.
have to sort of live here longer because I want to know what it's like to be an adult here and then compare that to like what it would be like if I lived in Malaysia. I do know that there are definitely way more opportunities here than in Malaysia, and I do have like 2 years I think to stay here and look for work and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
because as someone who's a person of color myself and from Pakistan, I
gang,
can
gang. Oh,
I,
not
I,
gang.
I always feel like there's benefits and negatives to both sides.
Mhm.
With Malaysia and Pakistan, there's differences. All Asian countries are very different.
Yeah.
But in general, you get like a much more stronger sense of community and
Oh,
culture in Asia.
definitely.
You
Yeah.
get much more stronger focus on unity. Whereas
Mhm.
with British culture, you get much more opportunities and individuality.
Yeah.
But then the issue becomes that you can see yourself becoming too alone.
Yeah,
individualistic, or
it's really
You become very capitalistic. You only focus on money or certain things like
Mhm.
that. Whereas our culture, is ingrained. We don't really do
Community,
that.
yeah.
We're based on unity, collectivism.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest issues here is that I feel really disconnected from like Malaysia, and I feel like if I stay here more, like it's good that I'm going back because I will get that sort of thing.
And
but,
it grows maturity because it's your first year in Scotland, and
Mhm.
as time goes, when you go back to Malaysia, you'll see things about Malaysia that you may have never really cared about. Like
yeah,
as someone who goes to a different city, when I come for university, when I come back to
Mhm.
Edinburgh, I see a new features, new beauty,
Mhm.
and things I never realized before. So
yeah.
I'm sure with Malaysia you feel the same.
Mhm.
So to the next question, how do you rate British food?
Oh god.
Slightly
What is the
Yeah,
scale I have?
what exactly are we
Um,
talking about?
like,
So
out of
when I say-
100.
Okay, so when I say British food, I mean
Yeah.
straight stereotypical British food. I don't mean anything that was influenced by other cultures. So I'm talking about
Alright.
the fish and chips. I'm talking
Marmite.
Marmite,
Oh.
Yorkshire pudding,
Fried Mars bar.
fried Mars bar.
Yeah.
That's a
Oh,
unique
God.
one. A haggis if you've ever had one.
No.
Oh, you're missing out. I can tell you that much.
I don't think I am.
Okay. And also, of course, the island brew. Very, very important question.
I don't understand why people hate it. I don't hate it, but I would not buy it for myself.
I can
If someone
understand
gave
it.
me an iron brew, I'd be like, oh fine, I'll
It's
drink
definitely
it.
an acquired taste. I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
why people can hate it is because it's very polarizing.
I feel they changed the recipe though.
They
It's
did.
less sugar in it,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's not
that
as good.
happened during
Oh my
the sugar
God.
tax.
Are you an
Yeah.
iron brew fan?
Well, I liked it before. I liked how much like the sugar rush it gave me. But
Then the
get a
regulations came
Coke.
in.
Yeah, sugar tax.
Just drink
Well,
a
to be fair,
Coke.
you can still buy Iron Brew OG, but it's more expensive now.
Yeah.
But I know for a good few years after the sugar tax, it became like kind of
Oh my god, I forgot you guys had sugar tax. That was so
We had
bizarre.
like of an urban legend where you'd be like, okay, in Aberdeen there's some like a cans of like the OG Iron Brew, so people would
Yeah.
trek from
Oh my
southern Scotland to
God.
northern Scotland just for a few cans of Iron Brew. So
That's
people are.
insane. People
so-
are passionate
So
about iron brew.
as a
Yeah.
nation, we love Iron Brew. In fact, many countries their main drink is Coca-Cola. We're one of
Mhm.
the few countries where our main most popular drink is Iron Brew.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
Go Scotland.
In your time in London, did you go out much for foods? Trying out different foods, different, stuff like that.
What was I doing
Or was
in
that
London?
too long ago?
Wasn't that when you went and saw the Madame Tussauds, the wax figures?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're
helps
mentioning
you
that.
Jog your memory. Sorry.
Um.
I know it's not in relation to the question. It's helped to.
Okay.
Sorry, that was probably off topic.
Hold on. I was 12. I don't really remember too much. I remember having fish and chips and liking it.
So not too
I
much.
see.
So not too much difference from Scotland and England.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough. Well, we can move on. Yeah, sure. Let's go that one. Yeah. So I was wondering. And this is something I haven't heard about as well. What are the biggest differences you've noticed between where you live, Kuala Lumpur, and
Kuala
other-
Lumpur. Sorry.
I'm going for my
Yeah,
news
yeah.
presenter voice, and other parts of West Malaysia as well as East Malaysia. Because I can
Oh.
imagine a lot of it's concentrated in Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah. So, West Malaysia is really dense. East Malaysia is really not dense, and East Malaysia is beautiful. Like it's so rich with like forests and just gorgeous like natural landscapes and stuff. Biggest difference is there's like a really really shitty stereotype where like the East is like underdeveloped, even though everyone considers Malaysia just as underdeveloped, but the East is more undeveloped than the West Malaysia, which is completely untrue. It's just because like the government has failed everyone. But it's true. And a beautiful thing about East Malaysia is most of the indigenous community is concentrated there. Like there are indigenous people in
East Malaysia.
yes. In West Malaysia there are some, but there's definitely way more, and people who are really connected with like
So,
nature and stuff
Are
in
these
East
people
Malaysia.
who are like hunter gatherers or like nomadic tribes who've been
Yeah.
safely kept?
Yes. Well, sort of. There's a few like caveats to that. There's some that are like really connected with society. There's some that choose to be like nomadic. And there's just been really shitty cases of like the government actively displacing these people to like cut down trees and stuff, because East Malaysia, as good as it is for like nature, the government really only keeps the nature for like tourism purposes. The rest of it is just for natural resources, because it is rich in natural resources. And yeah, it displaces these people. It just harms the wildlife. Like the orangutan population in Malaysia is really really dwindling like because of this stuff. So
Yeah.
it's quite fucked. There's
Yeah,
definitely
can
like a
you
lot
look
of
up,
inequality.
East Malaysian tribes.
Yeah, that's be very interesting to look at.
There's really cool. Like I know a few like Twitter mutuals from East Malaysia.
Have you ever
and they're
been
cool.
towards East Malaysia?
I've been to both states in East Malaysia. Yeah, gorgeous. Like I went when I was pretty young, so I don't remember too much. I remember once I went to a zoo, and then I looked at the monkey. I went with my cousin. I looked at the monkey, and I was like, "Hey!" I told my cousin, I was like, "Hey, that looks like your cousin." And then he was like, "Yeah, you're my cousin." And I was like, "Oh fuck."
You know the voice code right there.
Yeah, such an idiot. That joke like was told to me for a year. They were like, remember when you called yourself a monkey? I was like, yeah, I do remember that.
Wow.
Yeah, they're cool. They're very
I
like
see there's a very different types of tribal groups.
Yeah.
Very, very, like, some of them are much more, like, semi-modern, whereas some are much more traditional.
Yeah, it seems that way.
I just think they're sick. Like, I had a few friends in like primary school, and they like we had like this these events where we dress like in our traditional wear, and they'd wear those, and it'll be so sick, like just iced out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. Right. So moving on. Oh yeah, I was wondering, like, so you mentioned London, you've mentioned Germany. Like, where else have you been? I think you also mentioned
Where
you've
else
been
have
around
I
Europe,
been?
right?
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah. I had like a thing where my grand uncle took me and my family on like a road trip around Europe. So God, Europe's so big. I can't remember. I've been to France, Germany. I want to say Belgium. No, I haven't been to Belgium. What are like European countries? Like refresh my memory.
Luxembourg, Holland.
I've been to
Spain.
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Yes, Italy.
Wh-
Rome.
Which part of
Vatican.
Italy?
I've been to Vatican City.
Spain.
I've been to Rome.
Portugal.
I've been to not Portugal.
Which
I-
was what's been your favorite so far?
Yeah.
would you say?
In Europe.
God,
Yeah.
favorite. I wish I had more time in London. Like I went when I was 12. I had the worst fashion sense. Most pictures of me from London are in Madame Tussauds, which is quite annoying.
Oh, that's fantastic.
No, they're not. I hope no one googles that right now. Anyway, so yeah, I really liked London. I also liked. I think Paris is overrated. Like Paris smelled like shit. When like it was so.
Really?
Yeah, I was so.
Oh,
I don't know
wow.
where I
I
was.
agree.
But it doesn't smell good. And some of the people are really rude. And then if you
Yeah.
don't speak French, like you're kind of fucked. Like there was one time we went to like a restaurant, right? And none of us spoke French. Like none of my family spoke French. So we went. I think my grand aunt wanted to order the beef, and I feel like that's pretty like. If you say beef, you're gonna know what it means.
It's very close to the French word.
Yeah. So she was like beef, and the guy was like, "Huh? Like what are you talking about?" She's like pointing. Like, she didn't point anything. She was like, "Beef, I want beef." And like it got to a point where she had to like do this in public. She'd be like, "Moo," and like he was like, "Oh, okay, I get it." And then he just
No.
laughed
Wow.
like fucking embarrassing.
The
Yeah.
French. am I
Yeah,
right?
the French.
Did
No,
you ever eat any
I like
snails?
baguettes though. Huh?
Did you eat any snails in France?
I did not eat snails.
Ah,
Unfortunately, escargot.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, did not eat any snails. France is okay. I like the Louvre and stuff. I think France is beautiful. I like
Yeah.
French fries, but they're not from France. I know that.
Too
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Did you go to Disneyland?
No, I have not. I really want, cause I was with like old people, so I couldn't really like just be like, hey guys, let's go
You
to.
go to Disneyland?
Yeah, like 70-year-olds looking at me like, really? You wanna take us to Disneyland?
Could've been a time
Yeah.
in their life, you know.
I went to Universal Studios though, which is
Oh,
pretty sick.
that's
In
not
Singapore,
bad. Oh.
and the rides were chef's
Even in
kiss.
Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore is
What
amazing.
age were you
Like
when you were in Singapore?
I went 2 years ago.
Must have been.
So fun.
such
I
a
went on
beautiful
like
city.
Singapore's great. Singapore's great.
Mm.
Yeah, I like Singapore. It's just a bit of like a surveillance state. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I get what you mean.
actually, you know what? I actually don't like Singapore. I was like, I have to like
What?
moderate myself, and then I was like, wait, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like Singapore.
Well-
Singapore sucks.
How come?
Yeah.
because Malaysia and Singapore have a thing where we don't like each other. Because
Oh,
Singapore
because
keeps
Singapore was
saying
a part of Malaysia, right?
no,
Right.
no,
No.
no. They
No,
okay.
what
They
nation
were.
was
They were.
No,
So-
that's exactly.
Oh, you're talking about history. Yeah, they were part of
Exactly,
it, and
they
then they
were part-
left, and
They
then
were,
we
yeah.
gave them clean water for years. Yeah, because our sewage water was converted into drinking water for them because they couldn't get their own water. And then what they had the audacity to say that their food was our food. So they would be like, yeah, this food's from Singapore, when it was really not. And it was really annoying. So I don't like Singapore for that.
I see. It's a quite strong rivalry you have there.
Yeah, I don't know if this is completely like related, but yeah, when my mum was looking at recipes for Malaysian food,
They'd say like, oh, this is a Singapore
Yeah.
noodle, which it's not.
yeah, it's not.
It's
Yeah,
Malay.
It's Malay.
Well, I mean, to be
Malaysian.
fair, Singapore is in the Malaysian region.
Well, let's.
So, like-
Yeah, but it
let's look at the
doesn't
map.
mean that you
Let's look
I
at
like.
mean,
the map.
technically,
Yeah,
it would be
yeah.
wrong though.
Imagine if
'Cause
someone
it's
was like,
saying Malaysia. It's not like saying like.
No,
if you
no, no,
go-
hold on,
if you
hold
go
on.
intricate, It's like it's in the eastern village of Malaysia
my
from this little
God.
village.
imagine if someone like said, oh, this authentic Pakistani dish is actually from Tamil Nadu in India. How would you feel about that? Not very good.
But do you
Yeah.
know what? But here's the thing, though. If you said that a Pakistani dish was from northern India, like Delhi, I wouldn't understand because they're both the same sort of like region dialect. It's the same as Singapore and Malaysia. Now something like South India, Tamil Nadu, and northern India, like Pakistan.
Yeah, that's why I made
they
that
are
comparison,
fundamentally
but
different cultures.
true.
Whereas Malaysia and Singapore are the exact, at least before the cultural diversity of Singapore, were essentially the exact same people and in the same region. So I mean, it wouldn't be completely off to say that
Yeah,
they are the
that's-
same.
That's probably like the one
But
part
yeah,
of me
to
that's
take it as
nationalist.
Singaporean
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than just general Malay.
Yeah.
So that would have been better.
What
Yeah.
what are like the main differences like you've noticed yourself about like Singaporean
So-
culture and Malaysian?
Singaporeans have a Chinese majority, whereas Malaysians have a Malay majority.
Yeah.
Singapore is definitely more connected to the world. Like Malaysia is a developing country. I don't like using that word, but yeah, it's a developing country, and Singapore is a developed country. And I gotta give it to them. Like they work hard. They have a really good work ethic. They're really clean. Malaysia's not really clean.
Yeah,
What else?
gums banned.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, like
yeah.
for- yeah.
They're like a authoritarian in that way. But
Exactly.
Like a good kind of authoritarian.
I'd say there's like pros and cons.
There's pros and cons.
Like
yeah.
the work culture is really really productive. Like people do get shit done, but God, is it toxic? Like it's insanely bad. People like there's so many cases of like suicides and stuff like that because of how much
Right.
pressure they put
Yeah.
on students.
And I was
Yeah.
I have a friend who's Singaporean, and the way he explains it is that although the country is very authoritarian, the thing is nobody wants to challenge the government because in general the happiness rate of something like Singapore is incredibly high. Like people are given very good homes for very like
That
subsidized
is
prices,
true.
and in general the like happiness index of Singapore is incredibly high
Yeah,
for a city of its region.
that's true. Like they
That's why the
are.
authoritarian regime can be like justified, at least for Singaporeans in that sense. But I can definitely know what you mean as an outsider.
Yeah, I mean like the injustice goes away not goes away. It's sort of like not really talked about in Singapore. Like if governments are giving their people like the death penalty, like in Singapore you can't really talk about that because it's an authoritarian
It's
state.
authoritarian, yeah.
Yeah.
So that happiness index could be partly falsified or completely falsified too. So you can never truly know.
Yeah. I mean, I have family in Singapore. They're doing great. They're really smart. Really, 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 really smart. So Singapore's education system, it's toxic, but it works.
Plus,
So,
man, it'd be cool to live in Singapore.
Malaysia's cooler. Okay,
Can you put up
Malaysia.
like an image of like the
Yeah, how
Singapore.
about this? There's a side by side of
Sing-
Kuala Lumpur and Singapore.
Yeah, I'd love to see
Show us
that.
the skylines.
Oh, the skyline.
Okay, oh my god, Kuala Lumpur skyline's so fucking pretty.
Wait, we don't want to look.
Yeah, I was looking at
Where is
Singapore.
Singapore?
Yeah, we see he's on the Malay.
I think Taran is just doing his own research. Like
Singapore.
That's Malaysia.
Singapore skyline.
Yeah, nice.
I don't think I've seen this before. So. Oh wow.
So Singapore.
Truly a beautiful city.
It's alright.
Click on
It's alright.
No, I
It's a
actually
cheat
really
to say
enjoyed
that,
my
yeah.
time in Singapore. Like I just don't
Wow.
like that they
Yeah.
can't claim our food.
That is beautiful.
It's pretty. It's really nice.
It's really beautiful.
Fucking expensive to go into
Wait,
any
look,
of
look
those
at that ship.
places.
Look at that ship building. Like look at that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
three. It's like three towers and a ship on the top.
Look at like those
Who the hell
petals.
designed that?
No, it's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Cause they want to make
Wow.
sure us
That is sick.
Kuala Lumpur's skyline.
Emerging Europe.
Yeah, like Singapore's pretty like developed in that sense. They have like pretty Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah, we saw
It's
before.
definitely more dense. Like it's a very packed city.
Yeah, this
But
looks like
I-
very densely populated.
Yeah.
A lot of pollution.
Oh, thanks, Taran.
Yeah.
Your country looks polluted.
It's
It
fine.
is,
Our
it is.
country is goddamn cold.
Yeah, that's true. It sort of balances out like pollution and cold.
Yeah.
But
you mentioned to me
Scotch here.
how like amazing some of the skyscrapers you've been in, the ones in the middle.
yeah,
of Kuala
that
Lumpur.
see those like
Yeah.
twin towers
You've
over
been
there?
there?
I've been there.
Oh, yeah.
I've been to
Wow.
like that.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
massive building.
It's
It has
cool.
it has lots of stuff in, right?
There's like a fucking aquarium inside there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
Christ.
like on is it on one of the top floors as well, or is it? Like,
Yeah, it's pretty high up.
What?
So how long does it
That's
take to like
crazy.
get a lift to the top of one of those buildings?
I,
Oh.
wait, not long.
You know
Probably.
what? I feel
Also,
like, I
also
feel like
most
a
of those
building
are like
that-
vacant spaces, so a lot of it is actually
Yeah.
just vacant.
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel like a building like that, because it's so tall, they'd have like faster elevators. Like they're designed to go up and down quicker.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it's true.
I think
yeah.
we only have access to like
It's kind of
4 or
weird
5
how,
floors.
if you think about it,
floors of that.
like if you didn't know this is Kuala Lumpur, you wouldn't be wrong to say it's Singapore.
Mm.
Alright, guys. Y'all, I know y'all are trying to piss me off. and say-
No, not even. It's like
No, no,
they're
I'm
they're
kidding.
both like like beautiful skyscraper skylines.
Yeah.
But like, see, Singapore has that, but it only has that. That is Singapore. Malaysia has so much more diversity in landscape. No, it does. Like, look at Malaysian islands. Look at Malaysia's
You
like
are right.
hilltops.
And, but to be fair, Singapore is a city state, whereas Malaysia is an actual
Yeah.
nation.
Well, who asked them to leave? Like.
I swear, as far as I know about the history of Singapore, I think Malaysia asked Singapore to leave, and then Singapore like, okay, fine, fuck it,
No,
we'll leave.
Singapore also wanted to leave. They were just being
Sounds
But
like
bitches.
no, but it's 'cause
Singapore's always been
I think there's
bitches.
something to do with the fact that Singapore is very culturally diverse, and then when they
Suppose
joined
Malaysia-
Malaysia had a significant issue with that diversity, and then of course this is all I know, and then with that there's an issue, tension, Singapore left, or Singapore got kicked. I think Singapore got kicked
Singapore
out.
got.
I'm
Yeah, I
pretty
think.
sure that Singapore didn't
But
get leave,
Singapore,
they got kicked
Singapore's
out.
being a bitch, but I can't remember
But
why.
you guys literally kicked them out.
Yeah, but
You
'cause
kicked
they
out
were
your-
being bitches.
You guys kicked out your only child.
They were no. Brunei was there. It wasn't just Singapore. It
Is
was
it?
Malaysia. It was Malaysia, Brunei, Singapore, and some other country.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to know about
Indonesia.
Brunei, because Brunei is like such
Was
a
Brunei a
small,
part of Malaysia too?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Brunei's such a small
Um,
like place. Like
Yeah,
next
it's
to
good.
East
One of my
Malaysia.
friends
Yeah.
like lived there for a while,
Yeah.
and it was fucking insane because there's so more. There's like a really rich population, and then there's a really poor population.
Very big wealth
So-
disparity.
Yeah.
The guy who like runs the country like super rich, like has.
Well, I mean,
No,
most
yeah.
likely if he runs the
Normally
country,
they are
dude.
pretty rich. If you
Yeah.
run a country, your
Yeah,
income's
anyways,
quite
I
high.
think, yeah.
So guys, I think we're gonna take a break for now. We'll catch you in a few minutes. So thank you, Rachel.
Yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
welcome. Yeah.
Continue.
One,
Too great.
ideal. Okay. So, welcome back to the podcast. I am Shedu Nazir, and I am back with my co-host Adam Ponte. Our guest today is Rachel. So, we'll continue on with the podcast.
Yeah, get right back into the questions. Okay, so one of the questions I wanted to ask, following on from like the chats that we've obviously had before this,
Mm-hmm.
what is it like dating in Malaysia, just in general, and from your own experience? Are there apps, or is it mostly in real life? and how do you deal with caution over creepy dudes, and such?
Oh my god, that's a
very
that's
mixed
a
question.
loaded question.
Yeah, so just break that
okay,
down.
I'll
First
part
of
by
all, I
part.
guess
Okay,
your
okay.
experience.
So
Yeah.
my experience. I can't talk about that on camera. Yeah.
No worries.
Completely fine.
So yeah, there's apps like Tinder and stuff is like used in Malaysia. There's definitely the same shit you have here, you have in Malaysia. You have Tinder, you have Bumble, you have real life dating. Like nothing really like too out of the ordinary. I would say that probably the biggest issue is sex. And not just like having it, it's just like where to have it, because everyone's in like really sort of like Asian households. So you see people just having sex under like stairs in cars.
Wow.
Yeah, being horny makes you very desperate.
Wow.
And people just do this shit everywhere. It's quite
Yeah.
mad. Even in like cinemas and stuff, like movies. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's quite mad. What else about dating? Like,
Yeah, I guess it kind of shows, when you kind of try and stifle these kind of needs,
Mhm.
for lack of a better word.
Especially
Yeah,
in a country
from
where
Adam.
it's like from the state down that
Yeah.
like sex is bad or this is bad.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So it's like
It's quite mad.
Considering that you don't follow the religion, it's like
Mhm.
why should I have to follow this bullshit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think there's really many regulations on sex for individuals who aren't like Muslim, but I've heard of cases of like unmarried couples that go to hotel rooms to have sex and they get like raided by the police. It's the same with like
Whoa.
gay people, it's the same with trans people, like people just get raided if they're Muslim, that is.
Yeah.
Like there's this really fucked. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I
And
love
would,
my country.
would they get like the fines would be very hefty, like if they were.
You'd go
caught?
to most of the
jail.
time you go to jail, or you go to like
Yeah.
very Islamic institution where you sort of are like brainwashed into this shit can't go
Crazy.
like
It's
super
like a good life
public.
for boys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's quite mad.
That's
And
like-
all of this shit is really like under wraps. Like I only know about this because people have told me about it. Like there's not really like
Were there
much coverage.
Sorry, were there
This
instances of this
No.
in school? Like
Look
ever
at
happened?
this.
Not really school. School, the most they would do is
Sit under stairs and
okay, they wouldn't have sex in school. I mean, people are quite sneaky about it, like to be
Yeah.
fair, so they know how to do this shit and get away with it. In my school, it was a girls' school. Really, the only problem was
Yeah.
like with people that were suspected to be lesbian because they had short hair. They'd get called into the counselor's office and people would ask them like, "Are you gay?" Obviously, they'd be like, "No,"
Yeah.
but like it's really fucked
Yeah.
that even happens in the first place.
Yeah, it's very unfair just because you got like
for
a different
sure.
choice of hair. or
Yeah,
whatnot.
it's just really, really.
You can't really express yourself. They want you to like fit into a mold.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite mad.
Yeah, it seems
What
like
would you say?
LGBTQ relationships are like pretty frowned upon. It seems.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's illegal. Like that's just wrong
That's so
in the
capital P.
eyes of the state.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like a lot of countries that are like in Europe or kind of like the Western world, it's
Mhm.
like pretty taboo.
I wouldn't say like in the US there's still like conversion therapy and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
no, I don't
like
feel like it's just like the West. Like, because if you think about it, if at least historically, it's India that was actually very LGBT friendly
exactly, yeah.
throughout all of human history.
Like
where,
Hinduism and
like
stuff has
yeah,
gods
Hinduism was a very very sexual, like sex positive
Mhm.
religion. It was only due to the effects of colonialization by British and other more antiquated
Mhm.
countries.
exactly.
They put into these wild ideas of conservatism and like
exactly.
sexual like constrictions.
Yeah.
Suppose you could say then it's like sort of like how the UK or how things were like in the past here would be similar to like other countries in terms of like if you look like back in the UK, like I don't know, like when my grandparents or whatever were like young, that was still very
Yeah.
taboo.
Mhm.
Like, and it was like illegal for a while.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so a lot like when it comes to Asia, I'm actually reading a book about someone from 500 years ago, the Babur Nama, and in this book, it was as a book written by an Islamic person, a Muslim person, and even in that book, it tells you about how everybody had catamites, which if you don't know what catamite is essentially like a gay kind of like it's like a gay sex slave kind
Mhm.
of,
Oh,
but it's like a gay male sex slave.
right.
But
Yeah.
without the slavery, it's kind of like it's very grey area.
Yeah,
So like sex positivity and like LGBT has always been around in the Asian region.
yeah.
It's just been
For
affected
sure.
recently
By
with modern culture.
colonialism, yeah.
So
It's quite
very
fun.
interesting.
Yeah. It's sad. It's what it is.
Yeah.
Few deep facts about Malaysia dating culture. I love that.
Like, like, but what kind of like creepiness? Like, I don't know if you like.
Wait, I'm
No,
so sorry. This is such a
stop that
fun.
question.
This is like, it is a well-researched fact that Malaysian women, who's researching this shit? Malaysian women often love to date a serious man. Like, what?
Here's the thing.
I feel like
Yeah,
that's
I
a
don't know.
pretty
Check, just check the source. That's the best way to find out.
yeah.
About-
That's just a
Yeah,
blog.
It's
like,
gonna be hard to find like reliable information.
freemalaysiandatingsites.com. So
Well, you have first-hand experience.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's true.
If it didn't fit into the question, change the question.
yeah, no, but I mean, obviously,
Change the narrative.
yeah, no, I mean, obviously, you mentioned a bit to me, and then if you're still comfortable about this.
Don't go into it.
No, it's fine. But I was wondering, like, you know, like you know, fending off, like, you know, people making like bad advances on you and stuff. Like, how have you like managed that? Like,
So no one's ever been like physically aggressive or anything. It's
Yeah.
mostly just like, oh, like catcalling, and
yeah.
like I've been privileged enough not to experience that.
Right.
I try to avoid walking out at night, really. Like, I normally walk with people I know, so that's good. If I walk with a guy, that's fine. Like, no one's gonna that's that weird like bro code thing that I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the most you can do, really, like the safest thing to do for me, I would love to just be like, fuck you, like go fuck yourself or whatever.
Yeah.
But that may, you know, induce aggression, and I don't want,
Yeah.
like, it's a possibility. So even though I want to be like that badass, like, fuck you, like, I
Yeah.
can't, because, you know, that's just how it is. I have to like prioritize my own safety.
Of
So I
course,
mostly
yeah.
just like bow my head, walk away, or like call someone or whatever, worst case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Just get yourself out of position.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, wow, like from my privileged perspective, you know, it's both living here and also, you know, being a guy, like, it's you know, it's mind blowing hearing about this. Obviously, I've heard about it before, but
And
you know,
like,
just constantly
yeah,
hearing
yeah,
about
yeah.
this, it's just like, wow.
It's like sometimes, like, I hate that narrative that like, oh,
Yeah.
women wear like the provocative clothing, and then like,
oh, yes.
but
Because
you
it's putting
know,
all the blame onto a woman, and it's like,
yeah.
like at the end of the day, it wasn't a like it was not a woman who's doing the raping; it's the man who's doing
exactly.
it. But to say like
Yeah.
it is the way the woman is dressed,
Yeah.
it's kind of stupid. If you think about it. It's like pushing the blame onto the victim.
Exactly, which is
Mhm.
obviously victim blaming is never good, but it probably like it's so fucked because that sort of like, even though I know it's wrong, like you shouldn't blame the victim, it's sort of like I've internalized it. So sometimes when I'm looking at clothes to wear to go out, I'm like, should I wear these shorts? Do I want to get catcalled
Ingrained.
today? Yeah, so you
Ah.
know, it's things I just have to
Yeah.
consider now. Like, it not really here. I think Edinburgh has been way better with like my dressing and stuff. I've only been like catcalled maybe once or twice, but Malaysia it happens like quite a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a really like, it's, I'm pretty sure like every woman I've talked to has been harassed in some way or other.
Mhm.
So it's a very like widespread
Yeah, I've
phenomenon.
heard a fact which is like 1 in 3 women are sexually abused.
Mm-hmm.
At
Yeah.
least in I think Europe, I don't know how much.
Oh
worse it is
yeah,
in
and in
Asia.
Asia like that, there's that culture of like repressing it. Don't talk about it. Don't report it. You know.
I know a
Yeah.
lot about like
Yeah.
the Indian continent, subcontinent, in Bangladesh,
Uh-huh.
India, and in Pakistan.
Uh-huh.
The treatment of women is terrible, especially in Hindu nations, where there's a caste system.
Oh
the
fuck
law- the-
yeah.
if
The
you're the lowest-
untouchables and stuff
if,
like
if you're
that.
the
Yeah.
elite caste, which is the untouchable caste,
Mhm.
you are essentially a third class citizen.
Mhm.
Your body is nothing more than like it's just a tool.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
truly bad,
Mhm.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, this is digressing from that topic. You know, it's quite a gloomy topic. I was wondering in terms of like your parents' experiences in Malaysia. Were they born in Malaysia,
Mhm.
both of them as well?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because when I was doing some research before this,
On me?
well, kind
Were
of
you like
around
texting my
Malaysia.
parents, being like, "Where were you born?"
No,
God.
no,
Yeah.
I didn't do that. No, for no, of course, I no promise.
Mhm.
But obviously you were born. Well, not obviously to I guess people who are watching this, but you were born in 2001.
Mhm.
And when I was looking up like Malaysia timeline and what like some key events in its history, in 2001, it was recorded that there were some ethnic clashes between Indians
Mhm.
and you know national Malays.
Yeah.
Like, did your parents? Because obviously you know you were born at that time. You have no memory at all. Did your
Yeah.
parents, like, no, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Did your parents like you know like did they share with you the experiences of that and like what do you know about like that time?
Okay,
period?
they actually didn't, which I'm
didn't?
quite disappointed. But my
Yeah.
teachers did.
They
So
did,
my
yeah.
teachers, there have been like multiple clashes. So it's not just Indian Malay. There have been Malay Chinese,
Yeah.
which were quite violent. So like there's like my teachers would tell me they used to like hide in their houses. They would like try to. I'm pretty sure like my Chinese teachers told me that they would like purposely sort of alter their appearances so they'd look Malay, and then when they go out so they won't get like assaulted and stuff like that. It's really bad, like it gets really physical, there's a lot of damage, there's a lot of like I'm not sure like what the death toll is or whatever, but it gets pretty gruesome. And it just goes to show that like Malaysia, like its main selling point is look at this diverse country, look at all its people, and it's really not doing anything to ensure that there's equality between those people. So
but usually of course in terms of the Malaysia situation I can't know for sure, but usually with this is something to do with a long stem issue, like for example like with India Pakistan, it was due to the partition, which when they left it was a horrible clash with millions of killed, murdered and raped. So what do you have any idea why there's such a animosity between native Malays and Tamil Indians?
I would say the root, like if you're talking about purely root issues, it would be colonization. Historically, like because Malays are they are not, but they're considered the indigenous people of the land, which they are not, because the indigenous people are the indigenous people of the land. But they've been historically like sort of the most relations with the British or whoever colonizes them, so they'd be placed in like the urban areas, they were given the opportunities. Meanwhile, Chinese and Indian people who immigrated later than the Malays, they would be like systemically placed in areas that didn't guarantee them opportunities, you know, they'd been like given certain tasks and stuff. So there's that, and then just from then, constitutionally Malay people have supremacy, they have privilege, they are recognized as the sort of superior race indirectly, so that definitely pits people, you know, against each other. Some people, even though they live with like multiple races, they just can't accept that like, hey, this person's equal to you, like that's just, you know, some people are just in that sort of mentality. So that's what I think.
That's so sad. Well, I mean, around that topic, we didn't really have too many more questions. I know we kind of briefly covered it before, but regarding, you know, when COVID-19 was breaking out, what were like the immediate changes and what was the atmosphere like in Malaysia at the time?
For all of us were kind of
it's a crazy time thinking back to when this all started,
oh
right?
god, that was like what 5 years ago. So what was at first, okay, so the first reaction was lockdown for 2 weeks. We were like, yeah, fine, 2 weeks, pandemic will be over after 2 weeks, we'll be fine. We just, you know, kind of stab that we're at home, we'll make some dalgona coffee or whatever, we'll be fine. 2 weeks pass, government is like, alright, not that great, here's another 2 weeks. After that, it was another 2 weeks, and we were like, oh fuck, like this is kind of, you know,
for a long time.
Yeah, because at first you don't really like understand this is a pandemic that's gonna last like years, right?
We're not used to it.
And you know, just sort of like we were just sort of like at home because people are quite good with lockdown. I think there were some breaches, but a lot of people just stayed at home, and I didn't leave my home for like months, actually, like maybe 1+ month, only to do like groceries and stuff. That's when I would leave the house.
So would the lockdown just be like you have to stay inside and you can only go get groceries, or you
So malls, everything recreational, sort of like not essential services.
How strict was it in Malaysia? Like it was the same in the UK, in Scotland, but it wasn't enforced that well, so you could really go out and do anything.
It's like you could go out for exercise, so like an hour exercise a day. That was allowed, so people could just be out like and say, oh, I'm exercising. No,
Malaysia didn't have that. So what? Like they just restricted everything, which I guess was kind of good. Also because of that, you know, that thing you were saying about community, people wanted each other to stay safe, so they would stay at home.
A country like Malaysia would handle this a lot better than somewhere in Scotland.
We definitely initially handled this better, but then the government was like, oh, economy, and then opened everything up, and then that's everything.
That's the biggest issue with a country like Malaysia. They don't have the economic cushion to be in a lockdown for so long. With something like Britain, they can really handle that long pandemic
exactly
lockdown.
And they should have done that, but they didn't.
It's an issue of like you never know how long it's going to last, so it's long term versus short term effects.
Exactly.
They don't think about the long term effects about the
it's just like short term welfare and stuff like that.
I've just been reading now, there's actually a lockdown happening right now in Malaysia.
And I'm gonna go back smack in the middle of that lockdown.
For the viewers watching right now, you're leaving on the 1st of June. When are you gonna be back in Malaysia on the 2nd then, or is it gonna be the same day?
Oh no, I'm leaving. So I'm leaving the UK. I'm going to London on the 1st of June. But I'm leaving the UK on the 4th of June.
So she's gonna be back in the midst of all this craziness.
For reference, this is the 29th of May 2021.
So Yeah, when the Indian variants is kind of coming about.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's
Lockdown
nuts.
here, though,
Let's
man.
see.
Almost, dude.
Yeah, I'm not gonna jinx it, but
In the situation with the Scotland at least, we're currently in level 2 in Edinburgh. Some areas within Scotland change between level 2 and level 3, but we've gone down from level 3 to level 2. So
Mhm.
currently we are stabilizing downwards. So positive
Fingers
news.
crossed.
Positive
Mhm.
news.
touch
Yeah.
wood.
That's right.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that might fuck up the mic a bit, but
So, how did you kind of like adapt initially, like to being locked down constantly?
I
like,
was so sad.
You were so
I was
sad?
so
Yeah.
sad. I don't like being inside too long. I
course,
like
yeah.
being out. Like even when I study, I can't sit in one place. I have to like go here, go there.
Mhm.
I missed my friends. At first, it was kind of fun. It was like, guys, let's video call. Let's do Netflix party. That's
Yeah.
fun for 2 weeks, and then suddenly you realize you have like depression. You're like, oh fuck, wait, I have to deal with this.
Yeah.
So definitely like mental health was a big
Mhm.
issue, but that wasn't just a me thing. That was like an everyone
Everybody
thing.
was
So
doing very bad.
Of course,
yeah, like
especially
it's,
because we're outside, like as we said for exercise,
Mhm.
that
Yeah, that's
helped a
quite
lot.
big in Scotland.
Yeah,
For
but
me,
no.
like doing like a walk every day was like really good for my
Mhm.
Definitely.
I would walk my dog, but that's really like
I mean,
oh, my dog
it's
was such
something.
good therapy. That was
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's the same with me because when lockdown hit, all I had was my dog.
yeah.
So that was my way of therapy,
Yeah.
just walking my dog
Mhm.
many miles a day.
Yeah, I just COVID really made me like I appreciated my friendships before, but then I was like, oh my
You
god, this is
appreciate a lot more.
essential for my survival.
Mm.
Sort of like I'd be fucked if I didn't have anyone in my life.
Though it does make me realize how difficult it's going to be to get back into socializing fully after
Oh my
coronavirus.
God, yeah.
Like being used to going to clubs and pubs or like
Mhm.
large gatherings without a mask or without that fear, you know.
Yeah.
So it should be interesting.
Sometimes I watch movies that were like from like a long time ago. I'm like, oh my god, why aren't they socially distancing?
I also wonder about the social, like the psychological impacts to something like a year and a half, maybe 2 years of lockdown could do to people.
Mhm.
Because although in UK and European countries, the lockdown's going to end very soon,
Mhm.
in countries like India or like Asian countries, it's going to be there to 2023, 2022.
Mhm.
So a very long time. So
Yeah.
for these kind of people, that's a lockdown of many
Yeah,
years.
and the thing is though, like anything that's happening, like maybe China, India, like that's gonna affect the developed countries as well, because like that's where you get your stuff from. So everything like is gonna be affected by the pandemic, whether we like it or not, and whether or not the population is vaccinated or not. Like there's so many things that COVID has affected that it's sort of impossible to like ignore the effects in. Like you can't just be like COVID's only here, but it's also like just everywhere. It affects
Yeah.
It's
everything.
truly everywhere. Like right now, I
Mhm.
know at least in India, it's a terrible situation.
Oh, for sure.
Like they're
Yeah.
just burning people in the
Yeah.
capital of Delhi in public.
Mhm.
That's how severe the situation has gone with the oxygen and
Yeah,
whatnot.
you would think that like there'd be a bigger outrage about that, but I really only see like people
Yeah,
of color or
it's
just like the
very
most.
minimal, especially
Yeah.
considering that this is very much an outcome of a protest that's been happening in
Uh-huh.
India for about 6 months.
Yeah.
But that was given maybe 2 days of news coverage. Yet 500 people have died right now.
Yeah.
477 people exactly.
God,
so
that's fucking
it's-
horrible.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
God.
truly terrifying. But now India is going through like a stupendous high on coronavirus. I'm talking
Mhm.
like I think a couple 100,000 people getting like
Oh God.
yeah. Can you look into the coronavirus statistics of India?
Mm.
They're stupendously high, higher than
Mhm.
any other nation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
True,
finally
true.
went down the other day, like the cases
Yes,
in India.
it dipped to its lowest amount, but its lowest amount.
It's
is
still
yeah.
pretty
That's-
high.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that's on this wave, like the lowest of this wave.
Exactly.
Yeah, even just looking at this graph, you can just see a gigantic turn.
Yeah, it's
upturn.
going down.
Can you tell us some of the numbers at the
Oh
peak?
God,
Yeah,
that's
the peak, the 7-day average was this is cases.
Yeah.
Yes.
God.
So around 400,000 cases.
Mhm.
400,000 cases of
Gosh,
coronavirus a
that's
week.
And
insane.
that's
That's
probably
almost.
like underreported because
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
India is not like the UK, which has like really good contact tracing, contact tracing.
Yeah,
and that.
yeah,
Mhm.
Mm.
yeah.
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 Wow.
Just look on this graph.
Total cases 28 million.
Yeah, as we can see, it looks like
Look at that.
the cool thing with the map is
I love this.
if you zoom in, it'll show you actually the regions where the most heavily affected.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's injustice. Like they should be getting the vaccines, but they're not.
I guess it's an issue of like buying power of the vaccines because the
Mhm.
people who are making the vaccines are currently in the more developed nations, and then the nations that really need the vaccine, like America, they have the buying power to take more of it off the global market than Malaysia.
Yeah.
Because if, for example, I think it's India, with the India pandemic right now, the US vetoed any sort of supplies going to India to ensure that America first.
Exactly, that's what a lot of these
really
developed countries.
Yeah, it goes down to a lot of politics and bureaucracy when it comes to even vaccination control, income disparity, a lot of fuck shit.
Another thing as well is that apparently like the UK and a few other countries like actually like vetoed the power for like
they did,
the countries to make the vaccines, like the what's it called, like the IP or the like, you know how it's like the vaccines produced by that one company,
like the patent.
The protection of the vaccine.
Yeah, that's the patents. Yeah,
patents.
Yeah, the patents is definitely a really area. You know, even if someone like Bill Gates, who has access to the patents or at least significant power over them, he has not released them, and it's very surprising. You know, and you know, hopefully at some point they do get released, because that would be a tremendous help.
I agree. They really, like, in a situation like this, we really shouldn't be focusing on like material wealth. We should be focusing on the general humanity right now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't really like to call them like developed or developing countries. I like to call them exploiters and exploited countries, because that's what they are.
But at the same time, there's also some issues with that. There's caveats. Like South Korea and Japan are both developed countries, but if you look into the history of South Korea, they were never an exploiter. They were always the exploited. Japan,
but like
very, very muddy, neo-colonialism and all that.
That is true, but it's not representative of the general population of them.
Western powers.
Yeah.
I guess you can never be completely accurate or
I also believe it's due to like governmental types too. Like I believe like secular nations just develop faster than religious nations. AKA Pakistan versus Denmark. Denmark could adapt a lot faster to modern ideas because they're not stopped by any religious basis, whereas Pakistan has to follow the Quran, or in Malaysia the Quran.
Malaysia's an interesting place.
And this is, you know, coming back from like India with the pandemic to Malaysia. I was just wondering, like specifically with you actually, you know, I know personally that you have, you know, a lot of online friends as well as friends that you knew kind of, you know, in real life before the pandemic hit. How was it kind of, you know, like when you came to access both your online friends and like in real, like IRL friends from the same way and like at the same level? Like, did you ever think about that, and like how was that for you?
Wait, can you rephrase the question?
Sorry, the question was a bit weird. I'm going off my notes now. I'm just getting used to this. So like you, like just personally, like you told me that you have like a lot of online friends you've amassed from Twitter, you know, from other platforms as well. And then obviously when the pandemic hit and you can't see your friends in real life, you have to contact them online. Like how was it kind of when, like, you know, they become at the same level where you have to interact the
like
same
they're
way.
also like my virtual friends, right.
That's the way to say it. Yeah.
I mean, like it was nice to have the option of like, oh, I can text these people or I can see them in real life. The problem was like now I could only like, I didn't have a choice. I had to like do that. So that was a bit. It was weird. I don't mind like virtual like talking to people. Obviously it's a nice way to network, but it's just I hate not having that option of like, oh, I want to go to like a cafe with you. I can't do that now in a pandemic.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So socializing is weird. I mean, as I told you, I met like a lot of my Edinburgh friends via like social media, and then they turn into my IRL friends, which is nice.
There's no really any other way to meet friends right now. You can't go to any sort of clubs. You can't go to any sort of like major IRL things. You're limited, but hopefully next year will be very different.
I really hope
do
so.
hope that like once, you know, things settle down a bit, because I think it's important for people to like form some sort of community, like also in person. Like, you know, there's only so much you can do like online and on the internet. Like actually having things that you can go to, like, I don't know, clubs or, you know, hobbies or sports,
like experiences you can share.
Exactly.
They're
like grounded in some kind of hobby or some kind of, I don't know, like interest.
I mean, you know, you look at, like, obviously you weren't there for that, but you know, the other day, like us three, we did paddleboarding. You know, and you can't ever do that online. You know, that's impossible.
I've truly experienced something like I feel like when you do something IRL, of course, that's what our bodies were made for. We're humans, we're just an
Yeah.
animal. So it's these experiences that have a major effect on what we do, and they're things that we remember for a very long time.
Well, there's no more questions left on this, so we can just kind of go off normally. You know, that brings us to the close, to the end of the second episode, but first recorded episode. Wow, so this has been quite an experience.
Yeah, it's been very interesting.
Yeah.
So this is although this is not our first published episode, this is our essentially a trial run of what we're doing. And luckily today, I'm glad we had Rachel on as a guest today, so I'm very happy about that. Thank you very much, Rachel.
You're welcome.
And we're joined by Johnathan, who's our technician. We have Taran, who's helping us with computers, so good stuff all around. And of course my good friend Adam, who's my co-host.
Adam Bunting.
Hell yeah.
I've had so much fun, honestly. I was scared. I was like, oh my god, are you gonna ask me about my social security number? And like,
no, all we wanted was you to be you, and you did that perfectly.
Thanks. So did you guys.
Yeah, so thank you to Rachel, thank you to
Taran and
Johnathan for being the background workers.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching us, and hopefully you'll join us in the future.
And see you on the next episode.
See you in the next episode. Bye bye.
And welcome to Jonathan's Corner. Here I'm just gonna do a few raps every now and then and talk a lot of shit. And it will just be a fun time to kick back, relax, and enjoy whatever shit I have to say. Yeah, I'm trying to feel the vibe. I really wanna know you deep inside. If I ever come back, you know I'm coming better. And I know I've not got no vendettas. I will go through together, endeavor through any kind of weather. You know I just really gotta be myself these days. Too many ways, get caught down dark alleyways. I don't really know, my mind's just stuck in a cage. Let me out of this maze. I don't know what to do with these few days, so I just think on my own 2 feet. I never really say I'm that discreet, I just move to the beat. I'm not from the streets, but I can really spit true and neat. You don't need to just tell me what to fucking do now. No, I just shut it down. I just tear the whole world around. I know I come back with this sound, leave you on the ground. No, I'm not really chatting shit. Come back quick, you know, gonna do a backflip. No, I'm not gonna do that shit, but I can really do it my way. It's my way or the highway. I'm going skyways. It's my day. Okay, losing control through any kind of method that I really lose. And I don't know how to just go with the groove, go on my 2 feet. I don't really care, I'm not that guy with despair. And I'll keep it right there. And I'll keep it right there. I wanna know everything, but I'll just keep it right here and now and here and how and wow. I'm just spitting lyrics through my own brain. How insane, getting your membrane. I'm so strange, I never think that plain. I'm on another level. And the beat's done.
I'm good.
Nice, man.
That beat was really good.